All right, so good evening to everyone, to all the students, to all the parents, to all the families. Good evening. I am Ms. Robinson. Welcome to tonight's class of 2026 Masterclass. Plan ahead, finish strong, unlock the keys to college success. And so tonight's Masterclass is geared to the class of 2026. However, if you're on a year in the class of 2027, 2028, you'll benefit to have a head start and knowing what you need to do. So again, I am Regina Robinson. I'm America's #1 college admissions advocate. I am a former high school educator. I taught at Dr. Henry A. Wise High School, Frederick Douglass, the Duke Ellington School of the Arts. And I no longer teach in the classroom. I am also a former college professor at Trinity Washington University. I hung up those education hats for now. And I 100% just run Suited for Success College Planning Services, where we have been helping families like yourself successfully win the game of college admissions for the last 15 plus years. We've helped students and parents and families gain over $25 million in scholarships and grants. That number continued to rise every single year. Just know that it's well over 25 now. I am the author of the book that Amazon ranks #1 for helping students get into college successfully, winning the game of college admissions. And I am a former graduate, and I am repping my alumni tonight, proud of Bowie State University, go Bulldogs, for my undergraduate degree. And I am also a graduate of Georgetown University, go Hoyers, for my master's degree. So if we have any Hoyers or Bulldogs in the building, go ahead and put it in the chat. Good evening, good evening, good evening. And so we are going to go ahead and get started on tonight's topics of discussions. We got several things we're going to iron out. Get your notebooks ready, your recordings, your screenshots with your cameras, whatever it may be that you desire. As long as you have your favorite drink, whether it's tea or water, whatever you need to stay hydrated during tonight's masterclass. But we are going to dive deep and talk about building a strong academic and extracurricular profile, standardized testing tips, researching colleges, crafting a standout essay, and last but not least, securing scholarships and financial aid will be all of our topics on tonight. So if you have a question, do not hesitate. You can drop it in the chat. I will run back up to the questions at the end of the masterclass, where we'll have open time for Q&A. Just parking lot them in the chat thread or hold on to them, and you'll be able to come off mute during the Q&A segment and ask your questions. We want to make sure every family leaves with everything they need to know to navigate this process. So building a strong academic profile, what does that mean? Meet with your counselor to ensure you're taking the right classes. Sometimes, we get this whole schedule thing that comes out and you just start marking anything. Are you in the right classes? Are you in fact a honors and AP student, but you're in regular courses because you didn't want to take the initiative? Sign up for the right classes. Are you tracking what classes you're taking? Are you prepared for what your schedule will look like next year? So do not downsize or downgrade next year's schedule. Do not feel like, okay, I've taken everything I need to take to graduate. I don't need to take that any more classes or rigor classes in my senior year. I want to coast. No, colleges can see your schedule for senior year, so make sure you maintain rigor during your senior year. Consider summer classes or tutoring if you need to improve. Do not skip by like saying, okay, I got a D in something and I'm just going to leave that D because I can graduate from my high school with that D. Ds are not accepted in colleges at colleges as a passing grade, which means you won't get credit for that course. So please make sure you are monitoring that and maintaining your academic excellence. Beyond academics, is extracurriculars matter. What are you doing in the community? What are you doing to build up your profile? Why colleges care about your extracurriculars? It shows that you're a well-rounded student. That was one of the questions someone submitted. What is a well-rounded student? It's a student who not just goes to school just to go to school and do their academic required courses, but they are in organizations. They give back to the community, they are volunteering in the community, and they are involved in their school. Whether it's in school or outside of school, they are doing things to show that they are community leaders. That's what a well-rounded student is. Also demonstrate leadership, passion, and commitment. When you are SGA president or FBLA president, or you're a vice president, or you're the secretary, or you're the treasurer, it's showing that you have some form of leadership, passion, and commitment. Now, let me say this. If you are not any of those things, it does not mean you're a bad person or you're not a well-rounded student. It just means that you need to work to build your profile, right? Get involved in something. You still have time. It's never too late. So start getting involved at your school or in your community. Here's some examples of strong activities: leadership roles, student body president, club founder, meaning you start your own club at your school. Wouldn't that be amazing? Community service, volunteering at local nonprofits, or you also volunteer in your community, you volunteer at your school, you volunteer at your church, wherever you have an opportunity to serve. Special talents is participation in arts, which if you're a DISA student, you are heavily into that. You guys do productions, you do performances, all of that is considered volunteer as well, plus your arts. Participation in athletics or in competitions. So all of those things make a huge difference, whether you're participating in athletics, meaning you're playing basketball, soccer, cheering, track, whatever that might be. Those are all activities that look and promote your profile and building who you are as a student. Focus on quality, not quantity. So I say all the time, quality trumps quantity every day. You don't need to be involved in 10 and 11 organizations, because I can hear parents saying right now, see, I told you need to be involved. You need to get involved with more things. No, quality over quantity. So as long as they're involved in one or two things and they're doing a lot in those areas, that's considered quality. Choose activities that you are passionate about and can make a contribution to. Those things are important. Here's a success story of Evan Crawley, one of our former VIP college-bound students. And so Evan was heavily active in extracurricular activities in his school. He was a performing arts student. He didn't go to DESA though, but he was a performing arts student, and he did a lot of volunteer work in his community as well as a part of his art. He is now a proud student at Morgan State University, doing very well, a part of their theater program, already being casted in plays. I am so proud of him. He's still one of my mentees, so I am super proud of him. But as you can see, Evan earned over $220,800 in scholarships and grants and was accepted to all the schools you can see here. And his thing was his moms. I was impressed with this agency's successional approach and their efficient staff. They completed my project on time and on budget. I highly recommend them and will definitely be using them again. So he was working with us to make sure his portfolio and everything was together for his performances and for his school and for all his applications. What do you need to do when it comes to standardized testing, SAT and ACT? And I know some of you are saying, well, wait a minute. What about test optional? Because I hear all about that all the time. So can you give us some more information about that? So that is key about you looking into your SAT and ACT. So how do you decide which tests you are going to take? Many schools are now test optional. However, a strong score can still enhance your application. So do you take the SAT, do you take the ACT, or do you in fact go test optional? There are rules to all of those things. You should take a test of both, meaning SAT and ACT, to see which one you perform better on. Our shining stars, which we call them in our program, we make them take the official SAT and ACT. We look at their scores, check the converter scale, see where they are high, low at, and then we eliminate one. They go back in for a second and a third time if needed to get the best score possible. Some students find ACT's faster pace challenging, while others prefer its science section because they're strong science students. So you have to decide kind of where do you fit in and what's best for you. Here are some study tips that you can implement. Khan Academy for SAT prep, and it's free. Consider test prep courses or private tutoring if you need more support. Always tell families, try the test first blindside, then you'll know if you need support before you invest in the test prep. Here are some disadvantages when it comes to the SAT and ACT and just your testing overall aspect. Some schools may require test scores for merit-based scholarships, or specific programs, even if they are test optional for general admissions. What does that mean? I'm about to give you guys the total inside secret, so tune in, get close, listen closely. When you are considering schools, whether you submit SAT or ACT or go test optional, there is one key thing that you need to know and be aware of. Test optional for some schools come with penalty. That means if you say, I'm not going to submit my scores and go test optional, there's a chance you do not qualify for full financial scholarships, meaning full merit-based aid. And so you have to decide if that is good for you, because if you're relying on that, then you want to try and take your scores and do your best and submit your scores. So that's part of your research, calling and asking, are you a school, if you're going to decide test optional in this particular school, you want to call and find out and say, listen, here's what you say exactly. I was calling because I'm considering applying to your school test optional. Are you test optional with or without penalty? Okay, because if they say with penalty, then that means you don't qualify for the full amount of merit aid that they would offer a student who provided their scores. Keep that in mind. Test scores can still bolster your application if they are strong, especially at competitive schools. So don't get weary, submit your scores, let the schools decide if you haven't made the cut. Don't just wing yourself out automatically. Make sure you have at least tried so you can make the cut. Here are upcoming test dates that are so important. I don't know how many families find me and they're late finding me. You guys are finding me early enough. They're late finding me in their senior year and they're enrolling their students in my VIP program and they're saying, and I'm saying, okay, send me a copy of your child's test scores, and they have no test scores and they're already a senior. Students, please, families, do not let that become you. The next official SAT test date is December 7th. Register by November 22nd. You have 10 days left to register. Make it happen. If you don't remember anything else tonight, get in these tests. Register tonight or tomorrow. ACT is February 10th. Register by January 5th. Please, please, please make sure. How do you create a list if you have no scores? How do you know what your range is for schools if you have no scores? And so this is your first official test you will take. If you have not already taken one, once you go through and get your scores back from both of these, you look at that score. Like I said, we do that with our shining stars. We look at their scores, we go through the converters chart, and we eliminate one. And then we go back for that next one in May or June. Then if they need to up their scores, we're in August and September, so that you can have everything you need to apply early action or early admissions when you get to your senior year. Now, let's talk about researching colleges, because all of that ties into now, what do you do when you're looking at schools? There are over 4,000 colleges in the US alone. Competitive schools are fighting to get those top spots. Now even less competitive, meaning not the Ivy, but they're the next tiers. They're just as competitive. And some schools that are not, most people don't consider highly, are just as competitive. So a strong starting early and creating that package will give you an advantage to get your schools in. Literally, one of our shining stars just sent me a text today saying, Ms. Robinson, I got accepted to one of my colleges already. I can't believe it. Some of my students, some of my peers are still applying. That's because we don't allow our students to go past November 15th, 3 days from now, to apply to absolutely all of their colleges so that they can start reaping the benefits ahead of time to get their acceptances. Here's the benefits of early planning. First one is, you just heard me say, one of my students getting their acceptance for one of their schools already. More time to refine your essays and applications now that you're a junior and you're about to get started. You have time to make sure you write a stellar college essay. You have time to apply for scholarships, get everything done ahead of time so that you're ready when your senior year comes in, because you now have classes, activities, and everything else that you do in school. Better chance of securing scholarship money. So do not delay in applying for scholarships. You can start applying for scholarships today. So please do not hesitate. The ability to explore multiple options like target and reach schools. So your list should compile of likely schools, target schools, and reach schools. You should have a well-balanced list of schools. Now, I want someone or a couple of you to chat in the chat. How many schools do you think you should apply to? And I'm going to wait and see what some of the answers are. How many schools do you think you should apply to? How many colleges do you want to have on your list? 10. Some people said, 2 people said 10 already. Okay, any more guess? How many schools do you think you should have on your list? How many schools should you have on your list? Some people said 12, some said 13, some said 10. Okay, so let's talk about this. The national average of schools is 5 to 7, maximum of about 10. Here's what I need you to know. You can only, remember, only go to one school in the end. And every school has an application fee. So you do not need to apply to a whole bunch of schools if you are focused and you know what you are looking for in a college. So please, first of all, you can only put 20 in the FAFSA, and that was an increase because before it wasn't that many. So you did not, 10 maybe maximum. If you're just so overzealous, I would say 12, but you can only go to one. So why spend time stretched in all of those schools when you can make sure you're solidly completing applications for maybe your top 7 or 10 schools, okay? Students who begin research in the junior year have time to take meaningful action, whether retaking standardized tests or improving their academic profile. And you want that to be you. Here are some key deadlines to know and differencing in application. So you will have, and you will see this pop up as you're preparing early action, which means you can apply to schools early. There's no penalty. There's no binding contract attached to them. In fact, we have all of our shining stars. If there's a school that offers early action, they go in early action. But here's what early action means. You have put in all of your paperwork. You've applied, your recommendations have come in, and you have sent your test scores if you want to send test scores. That's non-binding, and it usually is between November 1st or November 15th or December 1st, December 15th maximum on early action deadlines. Then you have early decision, which is a binding contract. By law, you can apply to multiple schools at the same time, but if that school that you select early decision marks yes to you and accepts you, you must withdraw your applications from the additional schools. Now, here's the flip side of that. Sometimes you don't know what the financial package will be ahead of time, and you're applying to a school saying, I accept whatever package you will give me, I am coming. My child can come. So I always say students change their mind like the water, like the wind, like the breeze, right? So unless you're a legacy of a legacy of a legacy of a legacy, meaning your grandmother, your grandfather, your mother, your father all went to that same school, I highly recommend you play in the early action pool and not the early decision pool. So the counselor, Ms. Gresham, the counselor cannot move forward with early decision without consent from the student. Yeah, so when you put in your early decision application, you could still apply to other schools, but you will have to rescind them when that school says yes. So please keep that in mind. Please be careful, again, because parents, you're now obligated and binded to a contract. Regular decision varies typically between January 1st and March 1st. So please make sure you are monitoring that so that you're not doing too many, like saying, oh, I think I'm going to be outside of the application process, or I think I'm going to miss applying. You won't, because all schools have regular decision as well. But I always say, don't wait till the last minute. A deadline is a deadline, but you should not wait until the deadline to apply for a school. So students, please keep that in mind. You heard me say, I make sure all of our shining stars have a date of November 15th. Make that your mark too. Whether you're one of our shining stars in the future or not, make that November 15th your mark. Make sure you are having a cutoff date for when you will complete all of your applications. Consider these factors when you are researching schools. The academic programs, do they have your major? Is your major in the top 5 majors at that college or university? If you're looking to do research, does that school offer research? If you're looking for study abroad, does that school offer study abroad under your academic program? All of those things are things you need to consider. Also, the campus culture and student life. Are you looking for a historically Black college or university, or are you looking for a PWI, which means predominantly white institutions? Inside of that, are you okay with PWIs as long as they have a diverse, inclusive community? Some have more than others. Those are things that's important when you're looking for the college campus culture and the student life. Do they have extracurricular activities? Do they have sports? Do they have organizations? All of those things matter. Last but not least, are they financial aid and scholarship generous? Are they financial aid and scholarship generous? Meaning, do they give a good amount of merit aid? Are they very frequent in the financial aid packages that they give out? Are they generous? That makes a huge difference because that will determine whether you're in debt when you leave school. Start with your priorities. Do you prefer a large or small college or a medium school? Small is considered maybe 3,000 and less. Medium is about 10,000 and less, and anything above 10,000, anything above like 15,000 is considered a large school. Are you looking for a state school, university, a liberal arts college where you can kind of create your own major? All of those things are areas that you need to consider when you are looking at schools. Also, do you want to stay close to home or go out of state? Have that conversation. Usually, when I talk to parents and we're doing our onboarding session, students will say, I want to go to California. Parents are saying 3 hours. I'm saying, well, that is a huge difference, 3 hours in a whole nother coast. So please have that conversation as a family. Where would you like to go and where, how far, what states are appealing to you and what colleges? Because remember, there's over 4,000 colleges. You have to get them down to if you're doing 7, 10, 15, however many schools you are applying to. Resources. Here are some resources to help in your college research process. Use the school's websites, check for their academic program, their campus life, all of that stuff you find right on their website. Virtual tours, you can go on their YouTube channel. Sometimes they have them connected to their school's website due to accessibility. Sometimes you might not can go far to a school that's maybe on the West Coast. We live on the East Coast, and you want to consider a school over there. Do a virtual tour. Also, platforms like College Board, Niche, and CapEx will also allow you to do your dive deep of these schools. Students in our VIP, our Shining Stars, they have an online portal system that tells them about every college. So they get access to it. But for you, if you're not, you can use College Board, Niche, and CapEx and get some insight as to what that school has to offer. Another success story of one of our shining stars, Audrey, who is now, I can only imagine, I know we have at least one, as you would say, real HU here live with us. He's attending Howard University. All of his college acceptances, he received $280,000 in scholarships and grants. He said the amount of extensive information, him and his parents, that was the amount of extensive information that was readily available to us from Regina was unmatched. Her knowledge eased my anxiety regarding the process and allowed a smooth transition from being scared to being confident. Audrey is doing amazing already at Howard University. He is majoring in their business entrepreneurship program, already starting entrepreneurship initiatives. I'm super proud of him as well. Here's the biggest part that most students run from, and that is crafting your unique story, writing a compelling college essay. Here are some key tips. Be authentic and tell a story only you can tell. Focus on a specific experience or moment that had an impact on you. Show, don't just tell. Use descriptive language to draw the reader in. The reader is the admissions counselor who will be reading your application. Your essay is the one place for you to tell the reader about something they cannot discover about you in your college application or on your transcript or via your test scores. So make sure your essay counts. And I want to pause and take a survey from some of the students because I know we have students here. How many students, and we're going to use emojis or something, use an emoji to describe how you feel about the college essay. If you feel like it's going to be great, you're not scared, you know you're ready, use a fun emoji. If you're like, I am dreading this thing, this whole college essay, because what you say is, oh, I don't believe I'm a good writer, or I don't like writing, use an emoji to express that, and let's see where some of the students are. Someone said crying emoji, which most students do say. Okay. Someone smiled. Okay, good. So that means you're feeling that way, like, okay, I can do this, I can handle this, I got this. Okay, some said question mark, like no, like sad face. Okay, I got you. I totally understand. I totally get it. So we're gonna make sure we try and help you tonight get past that. Okay. So here are some key things you can do when brainstorming. Allow your unique voice to be heard. Don't be afraid to gain feedback from friends, parents, and teachers, right? When you are crafting your essay. But now, parents, let me give you this FYI because my kids do it to me all the time. And I am a parent. My daughter is now a college senior, about to graduate from college. So I am a proud parent. And so don't be afraid to gain feedback. But parents, please don't push your students to write what you want them to write. Allow them to share, and you just give them constructive feedback, positive feedback, right? And not so pressure. So I remember when I was helping my daughter with her essay, she'd be like, okay, I need you to take the coach hat off and put the mom hat on because you got the coach hat on, right? And so we have to be willing to give them a little grace and help them to get through their essay. Now, the coach hat for me, my students and my shining stars, they know I'm pushing until I can't push anymore so that we can get a great essay, because you would rather me say it's not good than the admissions counselor give you a decline letter in the mail or email because you didn't write a great essay. So, but parents, there's a way for us to give constructive feedback. When crafting your college essay, remember to open with a bang and close with fireworks. I am a strong believer in that because you want the admissions counselor to read from the beginning, be enticed to find out what the rest of the story entails. So remember, your essay is the one chance for you to share something that no one else can discover about you by just reading your application and your transcript or your test scores. Here are key components in editing your essay. Ensure sentence flow is smooth. Review your content. Read your essay out loud. Connect your thoughts and ideas. Make sure it makes sense. Check for grammar and spelling mistakes. Remember, Word is not a proofreader. You are a proofreader. But the one biggest thing on this whole slide is for you to read your essay out loud. If you read it out loud, you will catch something that's off or wrong. So please read it to yourself. And here's what I said. If you don't have multiple drafts, you have not written a great essay. Again, if you don't have multiple drafts, you have not written a great college essay. Financing your education, scholarships, and financial aid. I want to go back one more time really quick about this. So I think we're doing good on time, right? And so here's what I'm going to say. Everyone on here, the majority, this is only for the 2026. So if you jumped on and you happen to be a 2027 student, this isn't for you. But this is for every 2026 student. Every time, if I get enough time at the end of this masterclass, and I always stay over if I need to for this particular student, I will stay past if I need to give you pointers on your essay. You have to have had an idea of what you want to write your essay about. You have to have been pondering about it. You have some thoughts, you have some feedback. I'm going to ask you some questions. Then I'm going to tell you to turn on your phone recorder, and you can record me giving you some insight on how to start crafting your college essay. First junior to put a heart in the chat will be that winner. First junior to put a heart in the chat. It cannot be you parents if your kids are not live. The student must be live. First student. Okay, so we have, it says Catherine's iPhone. I'm sure that's the parent, but their student is probably sitting right there. So I'll remember. So next student, students, y'all not on this because there should be like 5 hearts already in the chat, and only 1 heart is in the chat. And so what happens if Miss Catherine have to get off, if Catherine's daughter, or if Catherine is a student, gets off before I can get to her? There's nobody else in the lineup because no one posted that. And here's what I know for sure. Every student who goes through my program or don't go through my program and they just pick me for essay coaching or essay editing costs thousands of dollars. And you only put one person, only put a heart in the thread. And I said, I'm going to give you how to craft your intro. So I'm just wondering why we still only have 1 heart in the chat. I'm going to give y'all a second. So either we have a whole bunch of parents on here tonight and no students, and that's why. That could be it. A lot of times that happens. Okay, so we got Morgan as number 2, and then we got Layla as number 3. So top 1. So, okay, but we have Catherine's as number 1. So we know we are, as long as she stays on, then we know we have that. Okay, oh, wait, I'm sorry, I was out of order. Okay, wait a minute. Catherine is 1. Naomi is number 2. I almost missed you, Naomi. I'm sorry. Naomi is number 2. And then Morgan is number 3. Okay, so we got our top 3. All right, so let's keep going. I mean, that was a lot. I thought that was going to be quick. I thought the hearts was going to be rolling. Usually, I've never done that, and the whole thread isn't full of whatever emoji I say. So I'm a little shocked by my 2026ers tonight. All right, so let's talk about scholarships and financial aid. Types of scholarships, there are merit-based, awarded for academic, artistic, and athletic achievements. So parents, guess what this means? They don't care how much money you make. It is based on your students' performance. Can you say, oh yeah, because that means, guess what? We are excited because they don't care about how much money you make as a parent. And so if your student has done the work, then they will be rewarded via merit aid. Need-based on your family's financial situation. And then of course the FAFSA, where they say whether you get grants or different loans or things like that, that's a free application for federal student aid. So that's what determines how the types of scholarships you can receive from colleges. These are other different types of scholarships as well. So not only merit, you have private, you have financial need-based, senatorial scholarships. Every state you live in has senatorial scholarships, legislative, bank scholarships, wherever we bank at. Some of them have scholarships, delegate scholarships, stores, sororities and fraternities, and churches. Parents, the money is out there. You must go get the money. I told you that I have a daughter who is now a senior in college, about to graduate. She first started going to college her freshman, sophomore, and junior year at McDaniel College, which is a private liberal arts college here in Westminster, Maryland. The college cost $60,000 a year. We never paid a penny, and we got refund checks every semester. She decided she didn't want to live on campus at a school anymore, and so she has now transferred, and she is a bulldog. And so she's at Bowie State University, and we also don't pay any money, and we get refund checks every semester. Parents, we were doing scholarships after scholarships after scholarships after scholarships, and she qualified for merit at both of her schools because of her academics, right? So we need to make sure we are doing what we need to do to make sure our students are set up for success. Here are some scholarship resources for you: FastWeb Scholly, Scholarship America, cksf.org, Broke Scholar, Zinch, Dell Scholars, CAPAX, and UNCF, as well as NCAA. The Scholarship America link, don't put a period at the end. It don't need a period. That's an error on the slide. But I would say take a screenshot of this slide. We also have, that was one of the top questions that came through that you guys submitted. Should I start applying to scholarships now? Yes, you should have been applying to scholarships, but it's okay. Nothing is never too late. So in our program, our Shining Stars have to apply to at least 10 scholarships a month, at least 10 a month. So parents, you can see where we need to up the antes in our house and make sure students are applying for scholarships. So please, students, make sure you are applying for scholarships. We have here at Student for Success a scholarship membership database where we will send you an email every single month. Usually our scholarship list is over 50 to 75 to 100 scholarships each month. Now, here's the deal. We send you the list. You have to open it. You have to see if you qualify, and then you have to apply. And so it is the best $19.97 you will ever invest in. And that's less than what you spend at Starbucks in one visit. Why? I know, because I like Starbucks too. So it's a great investment in you and your students. So you can get that list. It comes as a spreadsheet. You can delete the ones you qualify for and leave the ones you do and work your way through. We give you the deadline date of when they do. We've already done the work for you. You just have to open the email, click the links, and actually apply. Scholarships are important. For some, it will be the difference between you choosing your first choice school or your second, third, fourth, or fifth choice school because you didn't have the money to offset the balance that you would need to pay for college. College out-of-pocket costs, it costs anywhere from $5,000 to $50,000 plus a year. Yes, you heard me, parents. $5,000 to $50,000 plus a year out of pocket. So we have work to do. The FAFSA overview, fill out the free application for federal student aid. I can hear parents saying now, I'm not filling out that FAFSA because I make way too much money, so I know I don't even qualify. Parents, please, let me dismantle that myth. Every family here tonight, and there are, I'm gonna take away myself. There are 31 families here tonight, 31 on this live, because I'm not counting myself, my assistant, and Miss Gresham, because she's a guidance counselor. 31 students here tonight and families. Each one of you should complete the FAFSA. And here's why. If a college has any endowment money or grant money that's tied to a student having a FAFSA on file, you will miss that free money if you decide not to do the FAFSA. So please, the FAFSA does not open for you, because you're going to start hearing about the FAFSA buzz in the next couple of weeks. Not you. Your FAFSA will open December 1st next year, December 1st, right? So stay connected with us. I'll do a masterclass around the FAFSA, everything you'll need to know with that, how to get through it, and I do assist families with completing the FAFSA. So stay connected to us, but please remember that FAFSA will determine your eligibility for grants, work study, and for some loans that you will need. And there is nothing wrong with loans. Some of you will need loans to offset the cost of your students' education. Only borrow what you need. That's when loans become bad, when you start trying to borrow more than you need. Work study for students is given out via the FAFSA as well. What they do is decide whether you're qualify for it. Now, they do still offer work study for some students who maybe don't qualify for it through financial aid. Your college campus has they can do whatever they want. They have work study for regular students, work study for non-regular students. So you have to ask though. Don't be ashamed to go and do work study. And grants, of course, are awarded on the basis of need. So those are the three types of financial aid. You have to decide how you fall into that. I would say work a work study job than an off-campus job. Work study jobs work around your schedule for school. So let's say you're having a tough time and you have a lot of studying to do, you can take off and you're not penalized. You work at Chick-fil-A, Starbucks, Panera, any of those other places, you can't just call out of work because you got to study or you got to test. So keep that in mind when you're away at college. Here's another success story of one of our babies, Adriana Adams. Love, love, love Adriana. Just saw her last week when we visited North Carolina A&T State University. There she is now, a Aggie Pride. We probably have a parent on here who's probably an Aggie as well, maybe. But Adriana earned $170,000 in scholarships and grants. She is a nursing student at A&T. And her mom says, my daughter was ahead of most of her classmates as it pertains to the college application process. She is an Elizabeth Seton graduate. Ms. Robinson is very passionate about her work and relationship with students. Adriana is still one of my mentees today. And so she is doing amazing at A&T. She's finding her way. College is not an easy transition, but when you have the right support and you have systems in place, it will be a wondrous transition for you to go and do very well. Now, I have shared a lot of information with each and every one of you tonight, and I hope you gained some insight into what it is that you need to do to get started today and not delay. But before I do that, I know I said in the beginning, I'm not going to leave you and I'm going to hang out with you. I want to have an opportunity. If you're okay with this opportunity, I'm going to share with you about how I have talked the whole time about my shining stars. Why? Because I'm always proud of them, because they are a product of not only their hard work, but our hard work together collectively. So I am going to share information with you about a VIP College Bound program, because it might be for your scholar, and then it might not be for your scholar, but I would be at a disservice if I did not tell you about our program. So if you scan this QR code, it will take you to our program page, but let me break down what our program entails. Every student who enters our program automatically has an online database that they are connected with. That online database gives them access to every college in the United States, their profile, what their SAT and ACT scores expectations are, what their GPA expectations are, what their major is, the population of students who matriculate there, their college acceptance rate, which is very important for all schools. Like, is it a hard school to get into? All of that information. And then for the parents, the most important part is what's the cost and the breakdown, the average aid for that particular student. Every school, every student gets access to the online database so they can access those schools. All of our students are in a small cohort group. We meet via Zoom sessions. You also get a family consultation, because although the students are in a group cohort, they are all unique and all individuals. So we have what we call our onboarding family consultation. We review students and we are aware of your academic profile, and we make sure your profile positions you to stand out so that you have everything you need to put your application in place amongst everyone else that you're competing against. We also work with you on creating your list of colleges. For those students who say, I want 10, I want 15, I want 20, we do 5 to 7 schools with our students in our program. Anything over that, students do on their own, but I have taught them already, so they have the power to do those on their own. We help students with their academic resume template so that they can provide that to their counselors and teachers. Every student must have a counselor's recommendation and a recommendation from a teacher, and then a second teacher if possible. Not all schools require, but every school requires your guidance counselor. And so you need to give your counselor a resume. You need to give your teachers a resume, because as a former educator, one thing I always tell my students, I don't know anything about you besides what I know in my class and what you tell me. But your resume tells me whether you've been volunteering, whether you've been in sports and activities, whether you're a scholar in and outside of school. And so we help the students with that. We also help them to create a recommendation request letter to their teachers and counselors. We also review all of their college applications, and if they have a need help with a scholarship, we review scholarships. We review all essays, and we work with them on creating their college essay from start to finish, which is why I said my shining stars usually don't care. They love me up until the essay point, and then they're a little like, Miss Robinson, I got to start again. Yes, here's why. And so I'm very, I want to make sure they have an essay that they can be proud of. And a lot of times our students will take the shortcut way, and I'm determined for them to take the success way. We also work with them again on telling them we do not do test prep, but we advise them on the SAT and ACT, or whether they should go test optional. We make sure they're aware of that for their school and how to position themselves. We also help them complete the FAFSA, meaning if your family is struggling and they're not sure of how to complete the FAFSA, we will support your family in completing the FAFSA. And so we are with your students from beginning until end. And so until May 15th, they've already graduated from high school. They've already declared where they're going to go. 2026, we are with your family from the beginning. But here's what I tell all students. I like to win. I don't believe in being on the losing team. So to get into my program, you need to want to win as well, because we are going to do nothing but win. And so I always tell parents, that's why I say my program ain't for every student, because every student don't want to win, right? They just want to do the bare minimum. No, this isn't a bare minimum. We want to make sure you can be successful in what we call winning the game of college admissions, because college admissions is a game, and you either have the chess lined up which moves to make, or you'll be left behind, because these schools have thousands of students applying for the spots that you are applying to. Harvard gets over 37,000 applications plus every year. Do you know they only have 7,000 spots to give to students? That means 30,000 plus students get a no in the mail. So, and that's not just Harvard, that's a lot of colleges and universities. So please, students, we are here to support you and the families to make sure parents also have the confidence to go on with life while they know their students are well taken care of. So if this sounds like something that you need for your family, then we are here to support you. And tonight only, and because you jumped on this live tonight, we are offering a scholarship to all families as well. I'm going to come back to this page. We are offering a scholarship to all parents who are here tonight, and that means you have not ever enrolled in our program and you're now deciding to enroll in our program for the class of 2026. If you were to go to our website right now to enroll in our program, it's $7,000 for the class of 2026. Tonight, until Friday, we are offering a scholarship bonus where you can use the code VIP500 and you get $500 off that cost. Whether you're in the 2026 or the class of 2027, which is 7,500, you use VIP500, yours go down to 7,000. And so you can use this code to put in for your information. And my assistant has already dropped the link in the chat feed where you can go and see all about our program. This discount scholarship code will last until Friday at 11:59 p.m. If you try and use it Monday or Saturday, it will not work. But if you go to our website, check out and put in VIP 500, it will work. Some parents are probably saying, oh my God, that's a lot. Can I tell you that every family that goes through our program, and the first call that they have with us, which is that family consultation, they may be like, Ms. Robinson, you know what, I'm gonna just write you a second check because I already know what we're getting for just this one call, already paid what we paid and more. And also when they get one acceptance letter and their student has got $60,000 in scholarships over the course of 4 years, they've already paid for my program 4 or 5 or 6 times in that one letter, which is why they believe and understand their investment is truly a return on investment. So again, we always say that our full program is not for every family because some students are go-getters and they might not need everything in our program. So we do have a la carte services, which we offer students just essay coaching if that's all they need. And we offer them a college list audit, meaning they just want to know how their schools rank. Are they likely, target, or reach? Or we support students with completing and reviewing their Common App. And so we do offer those a la carte services as well. And you can find that on our website also. But for tonight, if you're interested in our VIP program, you can click this QR code or click the link in the chat, and we will be more than welcome to invite you into our family as an upcoming Student for Success Shining Star. Now, if this has been a helpful masterclass for you, and I still got some more bonus nuggets I'm going to give y'all after this, please, we're going to take 2 to 3 minutes for everyone to scan this QR code, or my assistant will drop the link in the thread, and all you would have to do is click the link and type in junior in all caps to complete a survey. Look, I made this masterclass free. I have given you information that parents in my program pay thousands, as you see, for. So if you would please take a few minutes, and it doesn't even take a minute to complete the survey, to just click the survey link, complete the survey. I would greatly, greatly appreciate it. I'm going to pause here and give you a chance to actually fill in the survey. But again, if you click the link and just type in the code junior, then you can access the survey, or you can click the QR code here on the website. So again, I'll give you a few minutes, and then I'm going to review back in the thread to see if there's any questions that I missed thus far. That I know I'm going to need to go back and answer. So I'm going to be looking for that in the meantime while you take a minute to complete the survey. Thank you again for doing that. And then in the meantime, the young lady that had Catherine as the name, You want to queue up for that so that I'm ready for you when I circle back around at the Q&A, because I'm coming to you immediately after that. So one of the things I would like for you to do while everyone's filling out their survey is to think about, because I'm going to say, okay, what is it that you want to write your essay about? Why did you choose that? What are you thinking about putting in your essay? Why is that story so important to you? And you have to be able to give me that feedback so that I can give you the summary. Is scholarship counseling an a la carte option? Someone said, is scholarship counseling an a la carte option? The scholarship membership is just a database. You get the email. And once you get the email, you can click on the links and apply for the scholarships on your own. So Jama, can you drop the scholarship membership link in the chat? Also, I have a question. Is applying to art colleges, are they different than applying for academic colleges? So someone said, is applying for art colleges different than applying for academic colleges? They are different depending on the college, that's the art school you're applying to. Some of those require portfolios and auditions, whereas academic colleges, if you're not going, there, some of them still as academic colleges and you want to be in the arts, require portfolios and auditions as well. It just depends on that art college. Like an art college might say, we don't need your test scores. And so, whereas an academic college is looking for test scores. So that could be the difference in the art college versus the academic college. Art colleges is conservatories. If you're looking at a conservatory, remember conservatories are strictly just your arts. So there's no academics there. So you have to consider whether you're looking for the whole holistic college experience or you just want to focus on your art. It is totally up to you. When I worked at Duke Ellington, I always had a lot of Duke Ellington School of the Arts students. Since I don't work there, I still get Duke Ellington School of the Arts students because they're always sending families my way. You can decide whether that's something we talk through. Are you looking for a conservatory or are you looking for a regular college? Because some conservatories offer just the same as a regular college. Some regular college offer the same as conservatories in their arts program. It's just about what you're looking for in that particular, in your college experience. Ms. Reed, we posted the scholarship membership link in the chat if you need it. All right, so I am checking if you have not. Okay, if you have not completed your survey, please, we'll give 1 more minute to complete the survey while I'm going through on the questions. I'm going to take this time while you are completing the survey to answer any questions you submitted when you submitted questions. I already answered that. Someone asked, what's a good amount of volunteer hours? Every high school requires volunteer hours, and so you have to decide what your college offers, or what your high school requires as volunteer hours, and I say double that number. So if your school only requires 15, you should be doing at least 30. If your school only requires 30, you should be doing 60 and above. So double your community service hours. All right, so we currently are at 14 surveys and we have 31 parents. So come on, guys, that's not even half. So listen, it takes less than 1 minute. If you would please take a minute to just do the survey. Someone said, when should we start applying for scholarships? I did say that, but I will reiterate that for everyone now. And someone said, when do I start applying for colleges? August, the Common App opens for your grade level. So if you're not ready, August 1st, applications open. That means you need your list, you need your essay, you need to have already had your academic resume ready for your counselors and your teachers and to upload into some of your applications, right? Come on. So do we have all of that? Thank you, Mr. Davis. Hey, Mr. Davis. So me and Mr. Davis used to work together at DISA, and we have not seen each other in years. So welcome, Mr. Davis. Oh my gosh, we have to catch up and chat, okay? So please, let's make sure we connect and talk on the phone. All All right, so August 1st, applications open. So do you have your test? Are you already registered for those tests I talked about? Do you have your essay started and written already? Are you already compiling the list of tentative, like preliminary schools? And have you started narrowing them down by visiting them? We'll have our HBCU college tour coming up this spring break. We're going to leave out on Monday, April 14th to Thursday, April 17th. Watch your emails because you are the first to hear this, that our dates are solidified. You're the first to hear that we're going to have a Black Friday sale for the actual college tour, meaning we're giving a discount price on Black Friday for the college tour. And so it will launch on Black Friday. That morning, you'll get an email and it's going to say, here's the Black Friday price. When it's done, it's done. It'll go Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. And so please, you want to make sure you grab your seat so we don't sell out. We sell out every year. How do you choose what to write about your college essay? The easiest way to identify writing your college essay is to Google Common App questions, Common App essay questions, and pick one. That is the game changer. You don't even have to overthink it. Okay, we're at 21 surveys. Let's get to at least 25 surveys, because I got some more bonus information that I'm giving after the survey. Click from this link, but not unless I get to 25. And I'm giving information that I don't usually tell on lives. I only give it to my clients. So if we get to 25 surveys, by the time I finish asking these questions, I'll give all those bonus nuggets. I'm just seeing what other questions. Someone asked this question. What does it mean for college admissions if the Department of Education does not exist? That will start unfolding over the next couple of months, 6 months. In the next 6 months, we will find out about that. It will unfold. I'll do videos. You'll check my social media. If you guys are not following me on social media, please follow me on Facebook and Instagram. We post college admissions tips and any updates all the time on our social media. So check out our social media page. Follow us on Facebook. Follow us on Instagram if you're not already. And my assistant will drop that. Jamie, if you'll drop the Facebook and Instagram. Should I start writing my college essay during my junior year? Yes, because your senior year, you're already applying to colleges. So a question was, should I start writing my college essay during my junior year? You're a junior now. Your college applications actually open when you walk out of school at the end of your junior year. If you don't start now, you'll be late and you won't be able to apply to your schools when they first open. So you should start drafting your college essay now. Okay? Yes, yes, yes. Please start drafting your college essay now, not later, now. Google Common App essay questions and start. The juniors in my program are already working on their college essays. Do not delay working on your college essay. All right, so we were only at 22, so I'm gonna keep all my golden gems to myself because we only reached 22 surveys, but I am going to open it up for any questions that you might have for me. I've already answered any questions you submit previously, but since you got here on the masterclass, are there any additional questions that have arisen about what it is you need, don't need, not sure of, need to know? Now is the time you can ask me any questions that you might have. You can come off of mute and ask your questions, or you can pop them in the chat to ask your questions. I'm going to wait for you to either come off mute or you can ask them in the chat.
I have a question. I wanted to ask, so at least for community service wise, since I've been collecting a lot of hours since I guess freshman year, and now I've been over the limit. Do colleges ever really look at that, or does it vary?
It varies. So here's where you benefit from that. So don't look like you're over the top or too many. You can never have too much of anything, right? So here's how you look at that. If a college is looking for a student that's well-rounded, they're checking all of those boxes. They're looking at all of that because remember, your community service hours should be listed on your transcript depending on your school district. So they can actually see that. The double benefit of that is there are a lot of community service scholarships. A lot of students are X'd off the list. and can't even apply because they don't have enough community service hours. They only did the bare minimum. So it gives room for more students like you to now compete better for that scholarship and get opportunities to possibly win that scholarship. So don't stop or don't feel like, okay, I'm done. I'm not going to do any more. Keep doing community service. Not only that, it gives back to your community, but it also gives you the benefit of applying to some scholarships that some students won't even qualify for.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. Someone wrote, what topics do you think are suitable for a college essay? The easiest way to determine first is I would say you need to Google the Common App questions so you can see all of the different scenarios they give you. It helps you to then discover a story to actually tell. Not necessarily the topics. It gives you a story that you can say, okay, you know what? I can see this kind of relating to when this happened to me. Now you've created what your story is going to be. Your college essay isn't necessarily a topic, it's your story that you desire to tell. There was no name, so I'm just answering that question. Hopefully that was that answered your question, and if not, you can come off mute and then we can go further if you have additional questions about that. All right, any other questions? Please, by all means, come off mute. You have me here in front of you. No question is a dumb question. It's only dumb if you decide not to ask it and you get off and you don't have the answer. So please, any question, now is the time you can actually ask me any question you might have. I'm going to leave this on the page. This is our contact page so that you can see that, screenshot that, and be able to connect with us in any way we have. So what other questions do you have? Now will be the time to answer any questions that you have.
I have
And if you,
another question also.
uh-huh,
I
okay.
wanted to ask, so I've created like a list over the summer, at least like slowly of like my college options, but I'm like, how do you start minimizing that? Or like depending.
Okay, so when you created that list, 9 times out of 10, you created that list, but have you gone back to check the boxes? Do they match with the academic program? Do they have the academic program you're interested in is in the top 5 of the academic programs, right? Secondly, are they still in the areas that you're considering, or meaning are they kind of far, too close? Does the parameters match with what your parents are looking for? Then go back and say, okay, do they have the type of sports or activities or clubs or culture that I'm looking for, right? Then have you gone on their YouTube page? Have you started going on their social media? Have you done your due diligence about the school? What are some people saying about the schools? What are students talking about the schools, right? And then on the next time, have you gone to visit and set up a visit of the school or did an information session with the school to see if they really offer what you're looking for and if they're really going to be that cultural fit for you? There are so many things that's going to help you to start getting from that preliminary to that top, right? And 9 times out of 10, a lot of that comes in, have you visited them? Because when you visit them, that makes it even better for you to be able to kind of vary to say, okay, you know what, I really do like them, right? Now you're kind of liking them based off of what you see online, but when you get to step on that campus, you get to say a different feeling. I always say it's in that feeling when you catch that campus, right? You're going to feel something to say whether this is possibly for you or possibly not.
Thank you.
Okay. Someone said, okay, so for the students who are struggling with not even knowing, maybe they don't have the support system, maybe they don't have that help, and they just don't know where to begin. Beginning is you can click on the Common App all day, but if you have no schools to enter into the Common App, you're just kind of on the Common App, right? But the Common App is where most colleges are housed. You have the commonapp.org, then you have the HBCU Common App, or you have the applications directly on the school's website, right? And so those particular students, you need to start looking at, okay, what's my list of schools? Have I decided on, or have I registered for the SAT and ACT? Have I started looking at the Common App essay questions as examples so I can start brainstorming my essay, right? Have I done what the young lady Eugenia just said? I have a preliminary list of schools. Now I got to start narrowing down my schools so that then I'm doing my students, we call it dive deep. Have you dived deep into these schools? So my schools, my students come into my program, they have their list kind of what they want. Then I give them a whole nother list of what I believe they should want, because sometimes they don't really know what they want. And I want to make sure they're not leaving out some things that should be a one on their list. And so then they have to do what we call dive deep. So you dive deep into those schools, and you do the same things I was just telling you, Gina, about for getting down to her list. And so then from there, you're able to start crafting out your top list. But a lot of students need that because you're just winging it. And so parents, here's the deal. You can't help your students the way you went to college 20 something years ago or plus years. It doesn't work that way anymore in the college process. It has totally shifted and totally changed. How much help should students expect from their high school guidance counselors as they head into senior year graduation? Zero. If they go to a public school, because and I'm just saying that honestly, because the counselors have over 350 students to one, 350 students to one counselor, right? And then when they go to a private school, even the private school have a lot of students, right? So they're going to help you, but they're not going to sit down with you one-on-one and do every single thing with you and your parents and your students. And Miss Gresham is here. She will tell you she's a guidance counselor at a private school. And she tell her parents all the time, I'm not sitting down one-on-one with you going through every single nook and cranny. You better call Miss Robinson, right? And so it depends on the school. It depends on your counseling staff. And so keep in mind, they are still counseling, and then they are still trying to do what everything else that they are assigned to do, cover classes, do paperwork, make sure they're talking to the students who have mental health issues too. And then you think that they're going to sit down and cross a T and dot an I with your student. They're not. And then you think you're going to run to them and be a bully parent who says, I need my student's transcript and my student's recommendation in next week or this week because they're applying to schools, when your student has had months to ask for their recommendation in their transcript, but you want to be the bully email parent that says, I need my student, and your student has never even gone to their counselor or their teacher and asked. Parents, we have got to be supportive parents, but we have got to make sure our children are doing their part before we send those emails to our counselors and our teachers, okay? Because I've been in that side of the fence, right? Or that side of the desk, and I know what it's like. So please make sure you are doing your part. Please do not expect that your student is getting help at their high school. That is such a misconception that they are going to get help at school with their college process. They are not. Please do not leave it up to your child to do alone because they don't have the resources or the know-how to do it. They are going to be overwhelmed and they're going to just wing it, and then you're going to be paying not the 5, I'm talking to upwards of 50, like I said. 5,000 to 50,000 out of pocket. And that usually falls in the line of the parents who have tried to do it on their own and students who have tried to do this thing on their own. And they're now paying, and parents call me after the fact and say, Miss Robinson, I don't know where I'm gonna get this kind of money from. And here's my honesty, because I'm honest. I always tell parents and students, I'm not a dream killer, but I'm a reality checker. I'm gonna give you the reality. I tell them all the time, listen, if you had went through my program, you would have never had that school on your list, because I would have told you you couldn't afford that and your kid wasn't gonna get enough money to offset that. So this was gonna be the out of pocket from day one. But it comes from trying to figure this thing out without really knowing how to figure this out. So please, I can only be honest with you, zero help. That's my answer. Oh, yes. So, and you saw Miss Gresham, she backed me up and said amen when I said zero help, right? And she's a guidance counselor. And when she didn't back me up on the zero help, she backed me up when I said she's not going to sit down and cross every T and dot every I, and don't be last minute coming to them asking for recommendations. She amened all of that, because I don't want people to say, oh my gosh, she amened that. No, that's not what she did. Waiving your rights on your college application. The minute you get into the Common App and you start selecting the boxes to give recommendation requests, please hear me when I say this. Please, guys, it's going to say, do you waive your rights or do you not? Please stop thinking everything got to be private. Please stop thinking I got to know everything. You need to select the box that says, I waive my rights. And I know you're saying, nah, Ms. Robinson, I don't agree with that. Didn't I tell you I've been doing this for over 15 years? You already saw what my students got all those college acceptances on all those 3 testimonial flyers. Come on, let me tell you, waive your rights. And here's why. I told y'all we was gonna give all the good stuff out at the end. Some people probably checked off and got off. They're gonna miss all the good stuff. Here's the good stuff. If you do not waive your rights, the school does not look at it as valid. They don't, because they want to know that the counselors can have freedom and the teachers can have freedom to write what they need to write about it. Now, here's what I tell you. I already told y'all I'm a reality checker. Don't go asking a teacher if you know you ain't, if you know you didn't do nothing in their class, if you know you cut up in their class, if you know you sleep in their class right in the front of the classroom, and you always talking back, that shouldn't be the teacher you asking for anyway. So it should never be a hesitation for you to say, I waive my rights. All right. So waive your rights to your recommendations. You do not need to read them. Why? Because you should trust that your teachers and counselors have your best interests. Do you offer an initial consultation session for a fee? We offer, if you see here on the screen now, it says book a discovery call. You can book a discovery call that asks whether our discovery calls are built around you asking what programs you think is the best for your family. If you're looking for a full consultation, meaning you want to know kind of like, here's all our stuff that we have, tell us what direction we need to go into now, you can look on our website under our contact us page. Jamie, if you'll drop that page in the feed, and we have sessions that you can book for that, and they are at a fee. Do you know of any SAT preparation programs? Yes. If you send me an email, I can send you a contact person for prep. Oh, you're welcome, Mr. Davis. What help is there for parents who cannot afford your program? Where should they begin? Everything we've lined out tonight, you should be taking all action on all those pointers I've given this evening. And here's the deal. I already know my program isn't for every family, right? You either need to look at our a la carte services, which is more affordable, or if that's not even affordable to you, you need to be grabbing my book. I told you it's $20. It's one Starbucks run. And everything I share is in the book, written out for you page by page, step by step. The only difference is you don't have me, which is why it's $20. So that's an investment, but you have to be willing to make that investment. Ms. Reed, you're welcome. Ms. Reed said, thank you. You're welcome. You're welcome. Any other questions? I think I've grabbed all the questions. Is Catherine ready? I think I've answered all the questions. Students, here's what I want you to know. If you're sticking around while I talk to Catherine about her essay, it will help you with yours. All you got to do is listen in, flip it, and turn it for you. But it will help you for yours as well. All right, so Catherine, you can come off of mute. And I'm going to make sure we are off by 8:30 for sure. So Catherine, you can come off mute.
I'm off mute.
Okay, great. So tell me a little bit about what you're thinking about for your college essay.
Okay, so I'm thinking about putting in my college essay about me struggling academically and how I've gotten support by my mom and teachers and how I've overcame it, and currently holding a GPA of a 3.5 and enrolled in dual enrollment at Prince George's Community College while maintaining my sports.
Okay. I'm just writing notes so I know what to. Okay. Now, okay, what about that why do you want to talk about that?
Because it shows my ability of overcoming things and how I persevered through it.
What did you learn from it?
I learned that if I keep practicing and taking the time to know what is setting me back, I can overcome it.
Okay, now digging deeper, right? Because I want you to see how I'm asking you a lot of different questions because it's going to help to say, okay, whether X, Y, or X, Z, or where you need to go, where you don't need to go. Okay. So think more because I'm coming back with some more questions because I need you to think a little bit more on that, right? That's why I wanted to bring you off mute now so I can see where you was because I'm coming back for that. So you need to, when I said, how did that change you or what did that do for you? Your answer isn't strong enough, right? Because you got to be able to build this whole thing out. So dig deeper, think about it, and then I'm going to ask you again in a couple of seconds, okay?
Okay.
All right. So any other final questions from any parents that don't want to stick around to the end or don't want to stick around through the essay part? I just want to make sure I don't not answer any questions. So I'm just checking the chat for that. And also, if you haven't completed the survey, let me go back to the survey page. Please complete the survey. We would greatly appreciate it. I think we're at 23 surveys. So, if you're still here live and you haven't completed the survey, please do so. Also, if you are here live, and you are interested in our programs, but just need to talk more and not really sure before you make a decision, you can simply just book a discovery call by scanning this link. And we also put the link in the chat that says book now. Again, you can actually book a call with me and I will get on the phone with you and answer any questions you have about our program, whether you should be in our full program or our a la carte program. And we'll be able to give you more insight into that as well. So yes, please advise and I will, all you have to do is click it. It'll take you to my calendar. You book the time and we can jump on a call. If you are interested in grabbing one of those spots, send me an email and be like, Ms. Robinson, I'm taking one of those spots, so don't give them all away because we do a limited amount of students. I take usually a maximum of 10 students in every cohort, and we already have students in our 2026 cohort. So if you're interested, again, the VIP 500 discount will last until Friday, and then it will go back to regular. You can still enroll after Friday if we still have more spots in our program. It's just that we're offering the VIP 500 only until Friday if you're a new parent who's came on this live and you're now just signing up for our program. All right, any final questions? If you do, you can come off mute and ask. If not, I am going to finish coaching with Catherine. Catherine, is that your name or is that your mom's name, dear?
That's my name.
Oh, okay, cool. All right, so now, how has it changed you? What did you learn? How have you become different, better, indifferent? You got to have that to build this out because that's what's going to be missing.
I'll say it helped me step out my comfort zone.
Okay. Okay, so now let me ask you a different question. So this is going to be the deal breaker for whether you can build this essay or whether you're going to be stuck right in the middle of this essay, right? Every essay has 3 bodies, right? To support what it is you're going to talk about. What are your 3? What do you think your 3 are? And it don't have to be the full paragraph. It's what would you talk about in that paragraph? What would be that topic?
In each, like in the body paragraphs?
Yes.
Okay.
Because you're a junior now, so I'm assuming you did not so well academically, what, just 9th grade or 9th and 10th?
No, it was in elementary school and middle school.
Okay, so then I didn't know that. I thought you were saying like maybe 9th grade, 10th grade. So I would say you need to scrap that idea altogether, right? Because colleges don't really care what you did in elementary or middle school at all, right? They only care about college. I'm sorry, they only care about high school. And so you're a well-rounded student in high school with the 3.5 and dual enrollment, right? So you didn't really have that academic struggle. Someone who's going to write about an academic struggle, that means their 9th and 10th grade, they weren't very solid. Wait a minute, hold on, I gotta find somebody need to be muted. Oh, that might be in your house, Catherine. Okay, so that means they're not very solid academically. And they're struggling, right? That's when they can write about academic. For you, that's not going to help you.
Okay.
Because you won't have anything to say for now, right? So academic wise, struggle wise, that's not going to cut it. You definitely have to come up with a different story.
Okay.
Okay, so I would scrap that. If that had been your only idea you had, I would go back to brainstorming for ideas, for stories. Like what I would highly send you to the Common App, right? The
Mhm.
questions, to Google those questions and see what question resonates with you the most so that you can find something that triggers when it registered as a story. So then you can build that out. Because right now, where you going, that would be a waste for you to write your college essay about that.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. The next person was Naomi, if she's still here.
Hi, yes, I'm still here.
Oh, okay, you got lucky, Naomi. All right, what would you write your essay about?
I have no ideas in mind right now. I didn't start the prep for the essay yet.
Okay.
I am a junior though.
Mm-hmm. So then I suggest you also go to the Google tonight while you're chilling in the bed after you get off. Common App essay questions, they're not going to change by next year, right? And find out what triggers you as well to decide what it is that you want to write your college essay around, because that's going to help you.
Okay.
Especially if you have no idea and you're like, okay, I'm struggling. I don't really know what I want to write about. You need to look at those questions, right? So here's what I do with my students when they have no idea. We're going to take those Common App questions. We're going to walk through each one and we're going to dissect them. Well, what could you talk about that was, one of the questions is I have an idea or an identity that's so strong that my college essay wouldn't be complete without it, right? So then I'm going to ask them, well, what is that story? What is it about that? Why did that happen? Who did it happen to? Who was involved? How did it change you? How did it make you a better person or not a better person? How did it make you become a leader, right? And so all of those things are going to help. And this is for all of you guys. We're in, what's this, November, right? And so I challenge each and every one of you that's still here left that over the Christmas break, you are going to be working on your college essay over the Christmas break. I know you're saying, no, Miss Robinson, girl, please, that's my break. I'm off school. I don't want to do no work. This ain't work. This is your future. Christmas break. You'll be working on your college essay so you don't come out of Christmas break and then now you're in January and then February, March, April, May, June, July, August, 7 months in, the all applications open and you have nothing, because that's what will happen. You will have nothing come August, and now you're fighting trying to rush and write something that doesn't meet your standards or doesn't cut, make the cut. Okay, so do that too. Google the Common App questions, and then go from there. I think the third person that put a heart in the chat was Morgan. Did Morgan jump off already? I think the third person was Morgan, and she might be gone. So I'm gonna run it back and see who else was still here that might have been. It was Layla. Someone named Layla was after Morgan. Is Layla still here?
Yes, I'm still here.
Okay, Layla, do you have an idea?
Yes. I was gonna write from homeschool to the basketball court.
Okay. So are you still homeschool?
Yes.
Okay, you just play basketball now.
Yes, I've been playing basketball for a while.
Okay, so what about homeschool to the basketball court?
It like being homeschooled and like coming and being with a whole bunch of people, it really showed me, it really helps me to get out of my comfort zone and being more socialized with people and seeing like a different way of interacting than just being at home with my family all day.
Okay, but how has that helped you?
Um,
What has that done for you as what has that done for Layla? Who has Layla become because of that now?
it helps me to not have anxiety anymore,
Okay.
and it also helps me just to grow as a person.
Okay, so it's growth. Okay. Um, you said you've been doing it for a long time. How long you been playing basketball?
Since I was 7.
Oh, okay. So you've been homeschooling and playing basketball. So the thing for you was, so how you going, here's how you need to understand how you're gonna have to frame this, right? It's not about the necessarily the homeschool to basketball court, right? It's you are when you're a lot of times what most parents don't understand is when they homeschool their children, and not all students, this isn't a blanket statement, because it might not even fit you, but based off of what you said, parents will homeschool students and forget that they're so inside that when they come outside, it's hard for them to adapt, right? Because they're not used to being around a lot of people, or they crave that um, interaction, right? So you're going to have to frame this based off of how did you feel, right? Knowing that everyday school is you, right? But you don't get to interact with other students, right? Like some of your friends might do, right? Because either you're in an online homeschool program or you straight up just homeschool at home. And so you're going to have to frame this where it's talking about you discovering yourself, although you've been to yourself. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
And so how this basketball team and the people and your teammates and your peers have made a huge difference.
Okay.
Because now you're able to be around other people. It's helped to maybe take you from being, I'm going to assume when you said the comfort zone and the growth and the anxiety, I'm going to assume you're a very shy person.
Yes.
Or introverted person. Okay. And so it helped you to come out of, you've learned to grow out of that a little bit. You might even still have that, right? Sometimes that never completely goes away, but you're now learning to adapt to that more because you've had the opportunity to be around other students, interact with other students. So don't take it back to elementary and middle, right? Because you said you've been doing it for so long. Don't take it back there. Stay focused in now, right? When you write and craft a story, stay in the now with it. Don't go back. Stay in whatever you have accumulated and discovered over these last 4 years.
Okay.
And you can almost say something like, it was never about the basketball court, right? Because now if you say you want to, because here's what I said. Remember I said, start with a bang, end with fireworks, right? It was never about the basketball court as much as it was about what I would learn, right? So most people think, okay, when you say basketball court, what about basketball court, right? So I suggest you record this, right? Now that we're talking, because if I start giving you ideas, I'm not going to remember what I said, okay? So
Okay.
remember to take out your phone recording. So it was never about the basketball court. So I want you to kind of look at it from that story frame, right? Like it wasn't about the basketball court. It was more about what you were going to gain when you stepped on the court. Does that make sense, right? Like, okay, because then they're like, okay, what? Okay. So you can start it like from home to the basketball court, right? It could be kind of like your title, and start off by saying something like, it was never about the basketball court, but it was about what I learned when I stepped on the court, right? Or it was never about basketball, but it was about what I learned when I stepped on the court. The first time, you could say, let me see, like you can really make this all about basketball, although it's not about basketball, right? It's about learning lessons. With every dribble, I discovered a new level of confidence, right? So now you're like, okay, so here I go. So first paragraph is going to be all about confidence, right? You learning more about yourself, because with every dribble, I learned a sense of self-confidence, right? And then you could talk about like the whistle. Every time something about as the whistles rung in my ear, as the ref's whistles rung in my ear, I discovered that growth, that social skills was tied to, you know what I'm saying? So you're gonna use this whole basketball thing and everything that comes with basketball, right? Ms. Robinson ain't no basketball player. I'm just trying to think of what's on the basketball. I know it's the ball. I know it's the ref blowing the whistles. And then every quarter, right? With every quarter, right, I became a different version of myself. So you see how you can build out different things, ideas around this, and how it becomes this story of how you realized homeschool and basketball was almost simultaneously, but you got to bridge that together, right? Girl, if you was in my program, we have the bomb essay, but you're going to have to bridge that together, right? And you have to pull that and tie that all in a knot. But that would give you that opportunity to really showcase who you are, and really showcase what it is that you have to offer the schools. Be sure to talk about the fact that you are a well-rounded student, right? That this taught you to be able to interact and do community service and do different things. And you're going to build around this story that sets up It was never really about the basketball court, right? Or basketball. It was about what you gained when you stepped on that court.
Okay.
And that's how you can be able to bridge your ideas. So I would say start brainstorming, do a little brainstorming session with yourself, and just start writing notes on your paper, bridge them all together. Say, okay, this would be perfect if I talked about this in this paragraph. This would be perfect if I put this in this paragraph. And that's how you're going to frame it out. But here's what I'll tell you. With your essay, don't get stuck if yours don't break into categories, meaning into paragraphs. You can tell a story from beginning to end without breaking paragraphs. So meaning you don't have to have paragraphs. You just have to go from beginning to the end, and everything has to flow from top to bottom.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. All right, so I think that was the last person, unless I had any other person that I missed. I think, well, no, my assistant said there was one other person named Shelly. Shelly might have dropped off by now. All right, so if we don't have any other questions, to all of you who stuck around, if you stuck around and that essay portion was helpful for you, and you had any final questions because now what you heard, then just come off mute, ask them before we drop off.
I have a couple final questions. I know I've been
Okay.
asking a lot, but
No, that's
just
okay.
after this call. Okay. So I've now just been brainstorming after hearing a couple of the conversations, and so my plan basically, since I have a couple ideas, basically I want to format into the, like, I guess the college essay, since like I find like art really important to me, like at least through like the 3 years, and especially being in Duke of all places. Mental health also, because that's been like a challenge throughout like basically my past 2 years,
Okay.
like freshman and sophomore year specifically. And then I know there's like those are like my main two specifically. I don't know what else like I should maybe add on to like more of that, I guess.
So you're saying you want to talk about what program are you in at Duke?
TDP, technical design production.
Oh,
So
okay, you're in design. Okay.
yeah, and
In
lighting
the tech program.
specifically.
Okay. And then how do you bridge what you do in the tech department, right? Because I remember you guys got a lot. You got to put them stages together. It's
Yep.
a lot in the tech program, right? People don't
Yeah.
understand. But how do you bridge tech, right? How can you correlate? How I just told her to correlate about the basketball and the homeschool thing. How can you correlate tech to mental health? That would be, girl, that would be a good story.
Oh,
I'm telling
okay.
you,
I'm like,
that would be a fire story right
yeah.
there.
I'm
That
like,
tech and that mental health. I know you didn't even think of that, but how do you bridge that and correlate that? Because there is a correlation. Hopefully you're going to see it because there is a correlation there. How do you see that bridging together? Because that can become your story. Because in tech, use everything that's examples about text, right? You guys build stages. You guys have them bright lights. You got to be ready to come on with those lights, turn those lights off every act, every scene, every change, every stage change. The lights go down, they come back up. Y'all got to have that tech changed, right? Y'all got to have that sound system running, all of that. How does that bridge and correlate into if you're struggling in mental health? You got to know when to pause. You got to know when to breathe. You got to know when to turn it on and turn it off. You got to know when to ask for help. You got to know when to see how you going to bridge those together. Because they bridge.
Yeah. Because I no, for some reason I feel like I'm good at like coming up with ideas. It just I'm not a good at like writing in general.
So
Like,
don't take that out of your thoughts. So this is for all the students left. Remove from your mind that I'm not a great writer, right? Because it will stifle you from writing. And a lot of times you have great ideas, but because you keep saying to yourself, I'm not a great writer, your ideas never hit the paper the right way. And so if you say that, then of course you're going to write it in the way that you won't. But if you just allow your creativity to flow, right? And so if you don't like writing, here's what you can do. Voice record yourself, right? How I told the young lady, take out your recording because I ain't gonna remember nothing I'd say, right? Voice record yourself talking about this story and just spew what you think and then transcribe it. And watch how you have a lot of juice and meat right there when you thought you weren't a great writer. Well, when you said to yourself you weren't a great writer, but you just talked, right? You didn't write, you just talked your whole essay. So if you have to change your mindset and how you go about delivering things, then you just do that. Sometimes like we have to do that. We change how we deliver things and we still get the same results. So if you have to go a different direction and talk, voice, record your essay instead of writing it because you have this mindset that you don't write well, then talk your essay. You never wrote it, you talked it.
Also, I wanted to ask another thing.
Mm-hmm.
Is one the thing that's at least mental health that definitely affected me, at least last year specifically, is also like dealing with death specifically, at least someone like
Okay.
in my school.
Mm-hmm.
And like no, because like I want to write about, but I know if it's like, is it like the best thing to like write about?
If you're thinking, is it too sad?
Yeah, I mean, or like, because like I was like close with them, but not like really at the same time in some ways. So it was like, yeah, I don't
You
know. I'm trying to figure out the best way to explain it, but it's like, I just know it
you can
definitely
tie
affected
it
me.
into it some way, like something like nothing could have ever prepared us as a community with losing one of our own.
Yeah.
Right. And so it's not sad, it's just saying nothing could have prepared you. And that's an honest emotion. The mental state of everyone took a turn, right? For some, it took weeks. For others, it only took days. For some, it took months. For me, I'm not sure where I fit in the middle of all of those feelings and emotions, but I know I'm feeling something.
And then also like to add on to that, I feel like I definitely learned more about like my like friendships and relationships with other people, like
Mm-hmm.
till this day specifically as well. Or
Yeah.
just like learning more about that, I guess, as I go.
And you can say that it taught me to value life differently, right? I now look at my friendships differently. I tell my family I love them when maybe before I wasn't that eager to say it, right? Or I didn't know what saying it meant if I did, because I never knew I wouldn't get another chance to say it. Something like that is not sad. It's saying and it's sharing about emotions.
Uh,
So you could bridge that and all of that, right? So the way you can bridge that too to make it not so sad in the tech realm is talk about how you go from one scene to the next, right? The lights went down, then the lights came back up, right? Within seconds, we had to prepare the stage from one to the next, right? Within seconds, nothing could have prepared the Duke Ellington, the DESA community for the loss we experienced. See how you just bridging those two together and you're not making it this sad story, but you're
yeah.
making it a story that's worth sharing. It's a story that's important to you. And so that's important, students, for all of you who are drafting out your essay. What story matters to you? What's important to you? And what do you want to share? Because remember, I said, this is the one place you can share with the counselors that are reading your application something they could never have read in your application or your transcript or your test scores. And they can discover who you are as a person at a deeper level. And don't be afraid to be quirky too. Let me say this. And so you guys are staying behind, you getting the essay like golden gems that my students, we do this back and forth, right? We're on Zoom in our cohorts and we're doing this. We're running ideas. And then their peers are like, oh, but what about this? And oh, what don't you think you should say that? Y'all getting behind the scenes because y'all stayed around to the end, right? And so one thing that you can remember to do is, again, I said, you don't have a final essay until you have written several drafts. So keep on drafting, keep on brainstorming, keep on sharing ideas and putting them together and piecing them together until you have pieced together your masterpiece. And don't be afraid to color outside the lines in your essay. So what do I mean by that? If you decide you're writing an essay and all of a sudden you drop in a stanza of a poem that you created, drop it in there. It's your essay. It works. It happens. It's okay. And so then when you're writing your essay, which is why I'm so hard on my students, keep in mind some schools will give extra scholarship money for essays. Some of my students have won extra scholarship money because they've written a great essay. So don't be afraid to be creative. That's why I always say start with fireworks, but most importantly, end with a bang.
Is it too late to ask a question?
No, we're here. I'm going to hang out with you guys for another couple of minutes.
As a parent of a child who you kind of have to pull things out of them. What would you say would be like key phrases, key questions, like something to get his brain functioning to actually think deeper? Because I am a parent of a teenage boy who every answer is a one-word answer. What do I do?
I
Please.
figured, I figured you had a son.
Exactly.
So one of my 2025 parents, she's they're a military family, and they just found me. And believe it or not, her child was the one who got the acceptance letter today. And they've only known me probably 2 months, and he's done with everything. And so when we first started, she was like, "Okay, Ms. Robinson, I'm just over it. Like, I don't know." I said, "Okay, well, that's okay. Let's bring him to the call," because we always do our family onboarding call. So it's me, him, mom, and dad. And mom and dad take a fall back and and then let me roll. And they get off the phone and we get off the Zoom and they're both texting me like, "Are you kidding me? Like, we've been saying that girl for months and he didn't do nothing. He sat there and gave you a whole story. Like, what is going on?" I said, I always say, listen, the students act like I'm their fairy godmother and I will be just that if that's what it takes. But here's what you need to do with him. Cut him some grace, right? Because you say to clean your room, you say do the laundry, you say take out the trash, and now you want to talk about do this, this, and that with, and then you say do your homework. Did you talk to this teacher? Did you follow up with this? And now you want to add in college stuff too. Now all he hears is blah, blah, blah. Would she please stop talking? That's all he hears. And it's unfortunate, but trust me, this is what the kids have told me, priceless when they say that. Ms. Robinson, all I hear her saying is blah, 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 right? So you have to come at it from a different approach. You can say, well, how was school today? What did you guys do? Or what did Mrs. Such and Such do? Or what did Ms. Robinson say in her class today? Did they talk about college yet? Are they even sharing anything at school about college? Like, what are y'all already working on? What are y'all doing? How can I help you? What can I do? Because I don't want to overstep my boundaries. So how can I be a support to you? What do you need from me? Right? So now you make him feel like you're having a conversation with him as opposed to, John, did you do this? Or boy, you need to do this. Oh my, and not to say that this is how you talk to them. I'm just saying this is how they hear
Oh no,
us
that's
as
exactly what I'm
parents,
doing. You
right?
got it.
So this is how they hear us as parents, and why I had to say my daughter was the same way. She didn't say, "Mom, I'm gonna need you to take the mom hat off and put the coach hat on," because girl, that mom hat is just not working for me. Because I'm hearing blah blah blah. Put your coach hat on, and I might listen, right? So it was a little easier for my daughter because she had already seen me work with so many other kids, right? So she knew I wasn't just talking to be talking, but they have not seen you do that. And so for them, this is for all parents who are left, you are blah. And ask your kids tonight, was Miss Robinson telling the truth? Is that what you hear? Blah, blah, blah. And they're going to say, yep. And just tell them, say, you can be vulnerable and honest. I'm not going to get mad. And 9 times out of 10, the majority of them are going to say, she was telling the truth. And then they're gonna cut off after that. They're not gonna add anything else to it, but they're gonna say I was telling the truth. And for boys, mom, it is so much harder. I have another family who's in my program, and their student goes to private school, everything, and he is one word. He is last minute. My kids get to November 15th to finish all of their stuff. All of my kids are done with the exception of one, and he's a boy. I already knew the boys would be last, but he's the last boy. And he is determined to take me to November 15th, okay? Because that is a boy. And it's okay because I meet him where he's at. I say, okay, yeah, no, I'm not meeting with you today because guess what? I told you last week to do this, this, or that. So you do it and you email it to me, right? So I told them all they can get the nice Miss Robinson or the Miss Robinson that's going to be cut through. And he's like, okay, Miss Robinson, I'm going to just go ahead and send it everything to you tonight. I promise, right? Because we have to meet them where they are. Because that's necessary for boys. So hopefully that will help.
I appreciate you. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other parents, students? We hanging out. So any other parents, students, a lot of y'all still hanging out with me. Anybody else has any questions, comments? If you didn't complete the survey, please do it. We'll push out the email that will go in there. And so we will do that. And so we will make sure you'll get a follow-up email. We'll send the recording out also, not tonight, but the next day, but in tonight at 9 o'clock. Maybe you might get an email. If it don't come out tonight, it'll come out tomorrow morning because I needed to add the survey link to the email. And I'm not sure it went inside of there yet. So We will get that out to you though. And so thank you guys for jumping on. If this was of appreciation to you, please drop some love or some emojis in the chat. And I greatly appreciate it. Show some love in the chat. And again, I appreciate it for all of you. Staying live, staying on. Hopefully this helped you for those of you who hung around to the end. And we appreciate you all for jumping on our masterclass. We will have more. Again, stay tuned. Our spring break tour will launch for April 14th through April 17th. We'll have our Black Friday launch sale. Our VIP scholarship will last until Friday, where you can get $500 off our program costs. If you're interested, if you still have questions, book a discovery call that you can see right here on the screen, so that I can answer your questions and see what might be the best step for you. Listen, you don't have to do this alone. We got your back. We're here to help you and support you. Connect with us on social media. And until we meet again, continue being amazing on purpose. Thank you.